On the news tonight, federal government commences inter-ministerial press briefing to mark Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary, moves to reduce food importation. Senate approves establishment of Southwest Development Commission. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu hosts National Assembly Committee on Reformative Institutions, assures reintegration of freed prisoners into society. On the foreign scene, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu orders army to fight on in Lebanon as United States pushes for ceasefire. These and more shortly. Good evening. This is the news at 8. I am Adibimpe Omotayo. Just coming in, Tinubu hosts Edo government-elect. President Bola Tinubu has called on the Edo State Governor-elect Senator Monday Okpebholo to prioritize the development of the state while assuring him of the full support of the federal government and the Progressive Governors Forum. President Tinubu said this at a meeting with the leadership of the All Progressives Congress Party, where the Edo Governor-elect and the Deputy Governor-elect, Dennis Idahosa, presented their certificates of return. President Tinubu emphasized the importance of good governance and delivering results to the people of Edo State. President Tinubu also acknowledged the role played by former Edo State Governor Senator Adams Oshomole, the Progressive Governors and the APC leadership in the successful outcome of the gubernatorial election in Edo. The President urged the party leadership and membership to remain united and focused on achieving the renewed hope agenda. Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima has welcomed ExxonMobil's proposed $10 billion investment in Nigeria's deepwater oil operations, describing it as a clear testament to the administration's economic reforms and investment-friendly policies. This is coming just as the international maritime giant DP World has announced plans to develop a multi-billion-dollar port project in Nigeria. According to the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Stanley Nkwocha, the Vice President stated this during a high-level meeting with ExxonMobil executives and officials of DP World on the sidelines of the ongoing 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, United States. The centerpiece of ExxonMobil's new strategy is the oil project, a substantial subsea tieback that could represent a $10 billion investment as it aims to inject $1 billion annually into maintenance operations and an additional $1.5 billion to boost production by 50,000 barrels per day over the next few years. Meanwhile, the Nigerian government secured a $600,000 relief fund and commitment from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for relief efforts for victims of floods, as well as for health and agricultural sectors reforms. The Nigerian Senate has passed the Southwest Development Commission Bill 2024 as part of efforts to expedite action on the infrastructural development of the region. The bill was passed after it was read and passed for third reading. This followed the consideration and approval of the bill's recommendation by all senators present during plenary.
And taking into account the relevance of the Southwest Development Commission, the committee resolved that the southwestern geopolitical zone of this country should have one, and accordingly recommends that the Senate do consider and pass the Southwest Development Commission Establishment Bill SB 102.
We look at our credentials, her places of work, and we are really satisfied that she has passed the standard to be a commissioner in Ondo State.
his remarks after the passage of the bill, Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin, who presided over the session, commended the Senator Kaka-led committee for a job well done.
Pass into law will help to really deal with the challenges being faced by the southwestern part of this country, infrastructural challenges, ecological challenges, and so on and so forth, and will help to put that region in the best place to have an environment that will be conducive for the people in that region, and it will, once that region is well developed, it also affects the entire nation, because whatever is done positively to any part of Nigeria is something that is done to the entire country.
Recently, the Upper Legislative Chamber had passed bills to establish the Northwest Development Commission, North Central Development Commission, and the Southeast Development Commission. Meanwhile, the Upper Legislative Body also approved the appointment of Olukemi Victoria Inyoton as one of the commissioners for the National Population Commission. And still on legislative matters, the House of Representatives has resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to probe the allegations of both Idris Okuneye, also known as Bobrisky, Martins Vincent Otse, also known as Very Dark Man, against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Nigerian Correctional Services. This followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance raised during plenary by Honorable Patrick Umo, member representing Ikoti-Ekpene Federal Constituency, Akwa Ibom State. Honorable Umo noted that the publication alleges that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission dropped money laundering charges against Idris Okuneye upon collection of a sum of 15 million naira.
Of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and Nigerian Correctional Service, established by these hallowed chambers to fight correction and incarceration persons convicted of crime for correctional purposes, respectively, worried about the negative image and portrayal of Nigeria as a corrupt nation and Nigeria's struggle to redeem itself from such perception.
Also at plenary, the House adopted a motion which mandates its joint House and Senate ad hoc committee, when fully constituted, to urge the federal government to mandate the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and the Dangote refinery to allow independent marketers to lift petroleum products from the Dangote refinery.
Same thing you are talking about. So I think it will be a duplication of efforts. I am sure in the course of the investigation, the GMD will be called upon to answer questions. So rather than subjecting him to the several visits on one subject matter, I think we should put our confidence on the Joint Committee, let them do a holistic job, and report back to us.
While the House scaled through second reading a bill for an act sponsored by Honorable Moshood Oshun, member representing Lagos Island Federal Constituency, to provide for the establishment of Chartered Institute of Business Education of Nigeria, charges with responsibility of advancing the study, training and production of business education in Nigeria. The Defense Headquarters has revealed that between July and September, troops conducting operations in the South recovered stolen crude and other illegally refined products valued at over 13 billion naira. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, who made the revelation at the third quarter briefing on troops exploits across the theaters of operations in Abuja, said during the period under review, Nigerian troops killed at least 65 terrorist commanders, 1,937 other enemies of the state. While reiterating the need for continued partnership with the public, the spokesperson said the success recorded is connected to the timely and accurate information made available to troops of the Nigerian military.
Quarter of this year, we've carried out synchronized bombardment by the Air Force and our ground forces And this has significantly diminished terrorist military capabilities as well as their networks. The troops' offensive actions have culminated in the neutralization of several notable terrorist leaders, commanders, and combatants across all the theaters of operations that we're involved in. Significantly, 65 senior terrorist leaders were wiped off the battlefield during the third quarter of this year.
The Defense High Command submitted that all through the stretch of the third quarter of the year 2024, troops conducted synchronized bombardments by the air and ground forces that significantly diminished terror military capabilities and cohesion. The federal government has filed a fresh 16-count charge against former governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello. The charge filed before a Federal Capital Territory High Court in Abuja borders on criminal breach of trust to the tune of 110.4 billion naira. This is contrary to sections 96 and 311 of Penal Code Law, Cap 89 Laws of Northern Nigeria 1963, and punishable under Section 312 of the same law. The former governor is to face this fresh 16-count charge alongside two officials of the Kogi State government, Abdul Salami Hudu and Umar Obicha. The defendants were alleged to have used state funds from the Kogi State Treasury to acquire properties in high-brow areas within the FCT and in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. And in other stories, the Lagos State government is set to reintegrate free prisoners in the state back into the society. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made this known when members of the Committee on Reformation Institutions of the Federal House of Representatives paid him a courtesy visit. Correspondent Olubukola Akin-Kolinsho reports.
Former President Muhammadu Buhari had signed the constitutional amendment bills for the redesignation of correctional services in the concurrent legislative list. Matters on prison used to be the prerogative of the federal government, but the constitutional amendment now empowers states to make provisions for the feeding and accommodation of inmates. The visit by the Committee on Reformation Institution of the Federal House of Representatives on Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu seems to be a welcome development. Led by the chairman of the committee, Honorable Chinedu Oga, commends the Lagos State government for its efforts in correctional institutions, says some prisoners need pardon and rehabilitation, especially the minors. He appeals for the rehabilitation of roads leading to correctional institutions, psychologically reshaping the prisoners, and logistics for the institution.
I want to bring to your notice, Your Excellency, the greater number of inmates we have across the country. 80% of it are state offenders. And in Lagos State alone, we have almost about 7,000 with some fraction inmates cut across Ikoyi, the three prisons in Apapa, Krikri, and Badagry. Your Excellency, we are here today to commend the Lagos State government for prudence in their justice and equally appeal to them that most of those people that are incarceration need the attention of the state government.
Responding on behalf of the governor, his deputy, Dr. Obafemi Amzat, accedes to some of the requests made by the committee's chairman.
The movement of Ikoyi prison, it's something that we have been looking out for a long time. Because like you said, it's really in the heart of Ikoyi, and in fact, we found a location. So I think it's something we'll be working with the Ministry of Interior and of course the controller to see how, we just need to agree on that location. I think we found some locations. I don't know if you are aware, but if you are the man before him, you must be aware. Because we actually work out the location, but we just need to agree so that we can build and then relocate the prison to somewhere. So we have a lot of work to do together.
Dr. Amzat agrees that the correctional institutions must be training centers for offenders to help reshape them ready for integration into the society. Olubukola Akin Kolusho, LTV News.
Organized private sectors and business community in the country have been advised to continually conduct risk analysis and follow regulations to address money laundering and terrorism financing. Experts gave this advice at the sensitization seminar on combating the scourge of money laundering and terrorist financing by Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa. Joshua Murakinyo reports.
Data shows that Africa loses $88.6 billion to illicit financial flows annually. Oftentimes, these money laundering and financing of terrorism are increasing in sophistication, inherently transnational, linked to organized crime, posing a threat to consumers, businesses, as well as governments.
Money laundering and terrorist financing pose considerable threats to global peace and security, as well as destabilizing political and financial systems.
Understanding the trends and patterns and the process of legitimizing proceeds of crime to disguise illicit origins is why these people from organized private sectors and business community are here.
People commit crime through corruption, through stealing, through theft, through drugs, and finding all kind of means to launder the proceeds of this crime. And sometimes they go to the business owners. They can go to, for instance, insurance company and put money as a policy. When they find out that nobody is looking into that, they take their money back. Sometimes they can put it in the capital markets as investments or as buying stocks or buying shares after they pull their money back. They can put it in business, small businesses to support the businesses. We call this co-mingling. That means there's a legitimate business going on. Money launderer invests his money in it. After he found out the coast is clear, he gets his money back.
Experts advocate due diligence and acceptable standards that can be adopted to mitigate this menace.
Individual and corporate entity must ensure they carry out a risk assessment of their environment, where they operate and what they do.
One thing is to identify the vulnerability. Then two is to put measures. One of the measures we are putting is to automate the transaction of our members, putting automation into place, taking into consideration recording of transaction, and then know your customer, customer due diligence, and then complying with rendition of returns to Central Bank of Nigeria.
We have what we call trade groups. We have occasional meetings with the leaderships of the trade groups where we send out messages that they send out to their members. And also we have quarterly council meetings and what we call General Assembly.
We've seen that there are some level of effectiveness. It is not where it ought to be. So you'll find those gaps, and that is why Nigeria, you will hear that they say Nigeria is on what they call grey list, which is the ICRG. We call it International Cooperation Review Group. That means the country must improve on those identified gaps. Those gaps are identified in the report. It is published, and Nigeria is working towards addressing those gaps.
The grey listing of Nigeria and inclusion on a high-risk jurisdiction for anti-money laundering is a concern. Hopefully, this seminar by GIABA will help participants identify, adopt strategies and technologies, as well as promote well-regulated financing systems and services that will tackle money laundering and terrorist financing in Nigeria. Joshua Murakinyo, LTV News.
Still ahead. INEC presents certificates of return to Edo State election winner, Okpebolo. That's in a moment. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission has presented certificates of return to the winner of the Edo State governorship election Monday, Okpebolo of the All Progressives Congress. The ceremony was held at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. INEC declared Okpebolo winner of the Saturday, September 21 gubernatorial election after polling 291,667 votes to beat his closest contender, Asue Ugudalo of the People's Democratic Party, who polled 247,274 votes, while Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party had 22,763 votes. The APC candidate cleared over 10 of the 18 local government areas, leaving the PDP candidate with marginal victory in the other local councils. Now, the Lagos State University has received a major boost in its infrastructure with the completion of a relaxation arena for its Faculty of Education. Handing over the facility to the institution, the Commissioner for Youth and Social Development, Honorable Mobolaji Ogunlende, urges the students to take responsible ownership with a view to enhancing effective learning. Samuel Dada reports.
The Lagos State University's Faculty of Education is one of the thickly populated faculties in the institution. Apparently, the need for improved infrastructure intervention for students of the faculty cannot be emphasized enough. The State Commissioner for Youth and Social Development, through his foundation, has intervened in the infrastructure need of the university with the construction of this relaxation arena for students. Aside from adorning the faculty, this facility would also put an end to unwarranted loitering, amongst others.
They reached out to see how we can support and assist them, with regards to making, life a little bit easier on campus. And the project is very simple. It's to create an arena, which by the grace of God we have launched today. It's an arena where we hope it would accommodate students that are waiting for classes, an arena where we hope students can come and sit together to revise, an arena where we hope students can come together and network. Right, in our own little capacity is what we've donated to the campus and to the students. Of course, there's a lot of opportunities to do more.
Students were advised to take ownership of the infrastructure through effective use and proper maintenance.
They should take ownership. After all, they were the one that suggested it to the Honorable Commissioner while he responded to them. So they should take ownership. They should put it to the right use and ensure that they come out with flying colors.
These are things we've discussed on continuity, not just maintaining, but also expanding to make sure we have enough capacity, enough seating capacity in the faculty to accommodate our students. And this is one of the reasons why I would like to plead with the government as well, because the school cannot do it alone, as well as the students cannot do it alone. We know the government cannot do it alone as well, but we believe if all these forces come together, work hand in hand for its success to be achieved.
The Relaxation Center is a huge relief to the students who promise to guide and sustain it jealously.
RAC has been doing well for people in terms of education and social development in Lagos State. He has been a supportive Honorable Commissioner for the youth and the whole people in Lagos entirely. So if to talk about this RAC Arena in Lagos State University, in fact, it's a big initiative, and let's say kudos to Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Social Development. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this in Lagos State University.
With this uncommon but important facility, students of the Faculty of Education, Lagos State University, can now enjoy a calmer and more conducive atmosphere aimed at boosting their physical and mental alertness towards effective learning.
Now, political leaders and elected officials from across Lagos State have asked Nigerians to be more patient with the Bola Tinubu administration. Bearing in mind at an event in Lagos, they said just like the recent law on local government autonomy is being applauded, so will be the turnaround on the state of the nation. Correspondent Olumidojo reports.
Lagos State has remained proactive on infrastructural, administrative development and other sundry issues. According to a cross-section of elected political officials and leaders in the state, the recent passage of the law on local government autonomy by the National Assembly is not an exception, as Lagos had long before now been practicing local government autonomy in the states.
Let local governments be. National Assembly, the legislators also, we have a breathing space. Is it my duty to now be lobbying, begging for a road, a street, to be tarred in my local government? It is not my duty. But because local government are not being allowed to do their job, I need to get comfort for my people.
Lagos State has been practicing local government autonomy, and with this coming up, will further strengthen our democracy and deepen it, and of course make development, particularly in terms of economic development and infrastructural development for all and sundry.
Joint ventures between the state and local government was also pointed out as knotty issues that need critical analysis.
The management of local government goes beyond funds. You talk about administration. You talk about other things that the state had been managing on behalf of the local government. We have LOMA, you have school teachers, the primary school teachers, and some other things, water corporation, and many more. So if by the judgment we're saying funds should go directly to the local government, so how do we manage other things?
The present harsh economic realities in the country is a source of concern for many Nigerians. Therefore, the All Progressive Congress members urge Lagosians and Nigerians not to lose faith, insisting that economic and policy reforms come with teething challenges.
What is happening in Nigeria is corruption. Corruption, both left and right, from head to toe. That is what is killing Nigeria. And Tinubu, everybody knows him. That is somebody who knows the job. So we should all thank God that we have this type of person. I know some people will say, what are you talking about? But I know what I'm talking. I know that it's not an angel. We must beg God. We must pray.
We cannot shy away from the reality on the ground. I feel the pain of our people. I identify with them. But I want to assure them that what we are going through, the unnecessary part, we need to work. If truly we want our position, our country to occupy its rightful position in the Committee of Developed Nation.
They urge Nigerians to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to push through the reforms that will ultimately ensure a virile and sustainable economy for the country's future. Olumide Ojo, LTV News.
Thank you, Olumide. Now, the Lagos State government has appealed to parents and other relevant stakeholders to promote and preserve the Yoruba culture and heritage through effective communication with their children. Special advisor to the governor on development agenda on Western Nigeria Commission and regional integration, Olariwaju Odesonya, said this at the maiden edition of Yoruba Week, added that it prevents the language from going into extinction.
It's centered on the Yoruba culture, heritage, and language, specifically language. How do we preserve our language? In which it has been predicted that it will go into extinct come 2050. And we are here today just to let the world know that there's a language that's universal.
The Lagos State government has set aside the last week in September of every year as the Yoruba Week to promote the culture and tradition of the Yoruba people and to establish the language of Yoruba all over Lagos State. Is definitely a good development.
The bill was passed into law at the Lagos State Assembly.
There was an executive bill legislating that the last week of September should be set aside to be tagged Yoruba Week, wherein we could showcase, promote, and champion our rich socio-cultural heritage as a race, as people, above all as a nation.
He also restated the state government's commitment to support the initiative.
The young generation must be proud of the culture, we're Yorubas, and we must be proud to speak Yoruba and to practice, the tradition that trains a child, and that is the culture of our people.
Encourage our people that the dialect and the language must not. Don't forget, under Yoruba language, we have thousands of dialects. Subsequent celebrations. And before the week runs out, the state government is still going to roll out its own activities.
Oyesonya added that members of the Lagos State House of Assembly communicate in Yoruba language during the plenary session on Thursdays in order to preserve the culture and heritage. As the world marks International Day for total elimination of nuclear weapons, a day set aside by the United Nations General Assembly to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons and to pursue nuclear disarmament. In this report, LTV correspondent Bose Oshinibi examines the significance of this day in the face of rising conflicts in the world. Her report.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Nuclear weapon is an explosive device that derives its destructive force from nuclear reactions, either fission bomb or a combination of fission and fusion reactions producing a nuclear explosion. Single nuclear warhead kill hundreds of thousands of people with lasting and devastating humanitarian and environmental consequences. Detonating just one nuclear weapon alone over New York would cause an estimated 583,160 fatalities. Combined, Russia, the United States, the United Kingdom, France, China, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea possess over 12,000 nuclear weapons, most of which are many times more powerful than the nuclear weapon dropped on Hiroshima. International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons is a day set aside by the United Nations General Assembly with a global call for action towards a future where peace and security reign supreme, free from the threat of nuclear annihilation. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres issued a stern warning about rising global tensions and the resurgence of nuclear arms proliferation. In his message, Guterres highlighted the growing geopolitical divisions and mistrust, which have escalated tensions and spurred a new nuclear arms race.
To the Democratic Republic of the Congo, to Haiti, to Yemen and beyond, we continue to see appalling levels of violence and human suffering in the face of a chronic failure to find solutions. Meanwhile, our peacekeeping missions are too often operating in areas where simply there is no peace to keep. Instability in many places around the world is a byproduct of instability in power relations and geopolitical divides. For all its perils, the Cold War had rules. There were hotlines, red lines, and guardrails. It can feel as though we don't have that today, and nor do we have a unipolar world. We are moving to a multipolar world, but we are not yet there yet.
Achieving global nuclear disarmament is the highest disarmament priority of the United Nations. It was the subject of the General Assembly's first resolution in 1946, which established the Atomic Energy Commission with a mandate to make specific proposals for the control of nuclear energy and the elimination of atomic weapons and all other major weapons adaptable to mass destruction.
Coming up. Federal government moves to reduce food importation, supports farmers with seeds. That's in business news. Join us again.
On Business News Tonight.
On Business News Tonight, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, says the federal government is making concerted efforts to reduce food importation. The minister, while fielding questions at the Inter-Ministerial Press Briefing, which is part of activities to mark Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary, noted that the long-term agricultural goals of the federal government is already yielding results. It says production of seed and seedlings made available to farmers is part of efforts by government to improve on food security. He also says removal of fuel subsidy was a necessity and bold move by President Tinubu that has drawn support from international financiers. On the petroleum sector, the minister mentioned that the president has implemented a major innovation in facilitating a mechanism where domestic operators can buy crude from local refineries in Naira. It says efforts to stabilize the economy are yielding results as inflation is reducing, exchange rates stabilizing, and the nation's reserves are rising.
On Business News Tonight.
The Poultry Association of Nigeria Lagos State Chapter has blamed the consistent hike in egg prices on low production and high cost of feed. Prices of eggs have increased tremendously, making the common source of protein out of the reach of many Nigerians. A recent market survey shows that a crate of egg is now being sold between 5,000 to 6,500 in market in September compared to 3,800 and 4,000 in May 2024. While the ton of maize, which sold at 400,000 naira in January, now sells for 800,000 naira to 900,000 naira. Speaking at a briefing with journalists, the farmers say this means most farmers are selling at a loss, as increment of feed is now over 1,000%.
Sustainability of poultry, of food in Nigeria. That's what we are after, because the chain of food production in Nigeria now is unpredictable, with some factors attached to it. Okay. With some factors attached to it. So we are now looking for a way of adequate feed production and its sustainability.
No, our Lagos State government are trying to mediate in this aspect, because we know they have a collaboration with Kano. You understand, planting maize right now. If that is available, definitely the price of eggs, which is the byproduct of the poultry farm, will definitely crash. If we have raw materials at hand for the feed millers, for them to produce feed for farmers, you understand, definitely the price
of input is going up, but the price of output is stagnant. And that's why a lot of people are leaving the business. And like you rightly say, that will definitely have an impact on the health of citizens and nutrition. And that's why we are trying to tell people, farmers, that, see, we can still make it in the business by applying stockmanship. And you can add what I've discovered, what I've told them, based on my research. What they are losing currently is more than what they are making. We applaud the current government by allowing people to bring in maize. It's part of the policy. A lot of my friends, the ship has landed. They are clearing the maize, and with that, the price of maize have dropped up from 850 to 700 now.
Though they commend the Lagos State government for some of its initiatives in supporting them, they believe prices of this feed have skyrocketed and call on the federal government as a matter of urgency to bring in gains on the short term and in the long term ensure that farmers can go back to their farms.
With a total of 65 medals, 26 gold, 20 silver and 19 bronze at the recently concluded 8th National Youth Games, Team Lagos recorded significant improvement with the state performance in Asaba, Delta State. The impressive outing attested to the commitment of the present administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to enhance grassroots development and, more importantly, provide platform for future stars to exhibit their skills and develop their talent. Fielding eligible athletes with the stipulated age at the national competition designed for the under-15 boys and girls, Lagos showed probity and dedication to the ideals of National Youth Games, prioritizing talent development and playing by the rules. Speaking on the milestone achievement, Director General Lagos State Sports Commission, Lekan Fatodu, noted that the state has proven with the remarkable outing that the future of sports, particularly in talent development, lies with the state.
We see these young people as the future of sports in Lagos State. So we are looking at that from the angle of sports development around education, what they are doing in school and what the future lies. So we look into the areas of scholarship, opportunity businesses and crafts, in sports in general. Those are some of the areas that we want to do to ensure that we retain our talent. And gone are the days where some states will be coming to poach our stars. We are giving the best of incentives now through the support of Mr. Governor.
Giving the host a good fight at the National Youth Games, Lagos defeated Delta in the basketball final, which ended 10-8. Another interesting performance saw Team Lagos dominated the boxing event, sweeping all the 4 gold medals available in the event.
Everyone is a winner, but there must be one ultimate winner. There's room for improvement, and this goes to show us that we must continue to work harder. And again, as a government, this also encourages us to do more for our youth, because when we take all these gold medals home to Mr. Governor, he has no choice but to continue to invest in sports and continue to invest in our youth.
2 goals, one in each half from Kemi Adeguyi and Aminat Adebisi, ensure victory for Team Lagos in the football final against Team Bayelsa as the state successfully defended the title.
These are youth from Lagos doing very well in sports. They are showing that they've come to Delta not just to play, but to win, and they are winning. What can we say? Lagos is the up for sports. It's up for active in Nigeria. We thank Lagos State Governor. We thank the DG, we thank the Commissioner, and I'm sure more opportunities are available for more youth in Lagos State.
A lone goal from Olaitan Adebisi in the hockey final against Kaduna earned Lagos gold medal after the team played 6 matches without defeat. Aisha Rabiu contributed 3 medals in the table tennis, winning gold in the cadet girls singles, combined with Faisat Musbao to secure gold in the girls doubles and settle for bronze in the mixed doubles with Hussein Adeoye.
My message to them is they should keep on training well. They should keep their spirits up. The state, Lagos State, is going to do a lot. And I'm very certain that if they can get past this hurdle, they will be the national athletes that we are craving for.
The National Youth Games is something that we need to consolidate more, because it provides us opportunity, to discover young talent, to ensure, grassroots development. And on the basis of that, we are seeing raw talent here, which of course I think that the country needs to harness to ensure that we become not the hub of sports, and also ensure that we do well in international competitions.
The swimming team amassed a total of 10 medals, 4 golds, 4 silver and 2 bronze to finish second in the medals table after the keenly contested event.
Coming with the number of gold medals, particularly I have to make emphasis around the way we have conveniently and confidently swept all the gold medals in boxing. A lot of people, and we also trounced Delta, I must say that, in basketball. Now looking at different areas of our competitive advantage in sports, and I am sure that in the coming years, Lagos State, we come first.
The overall performance of the athlete at Asaba 2024 is a testament to the developmental programs embarked by the state in creating avenue for young people to develop their talent and build careers in sports. At the state levels, in the historic achievement is the evidence that the government investment in sport is yielding positive results, and this Lagos State Sports Commission is ensuring far-reaching impact with the effectiveness of its programs and policies.
On the foreign scene, Israel's military has carried out airstrikes in Beirut, saying it killed a Hezbollah air unit command. The Lebanese Health Ministry says 2 people were killed in the strikes and 15 others injured. Earlier, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the military would fight with full force in Lebanon. The statement came after the US, UK and other allies called for a 21-day ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah. The Lebanese government says Israeli strikes killed at least 26 people across the country, with more than 550 killed since Monday. Since 8 October, there has been near daily cross-border fire between Israel and Hezbollah. Hezbollah, backed by Iran, says it is acting in solidarity with Palestinians. Israel says it aims to remove Hezbollah's threat and return displaced people back to northern Israel. Let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. To end the news, a recap of our major stories. The federal government has commenced inter-ministerial press briefing to mark Nigeria's 64th independence, moves to reduce food importation that's banned on under-18 students for SSCE. The Senate has approved the establishment of a Southwest Development Commission. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu hosted the National Assembly Committee on Reformative Institutions, assured of reintegrating freed prisoners into the society. On the foreign scene, we told you that Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu has ordered the army to keep fighting in Lebanon as US pushes for ceasefire. For more news, connect with Lagos Television on the social media platforms. Our parting shot tonight: happiness is not by chance, but by choice. Please remember to call Lagos toll-free line 767 or 112 in case of emergencies. Thank you for watching. I am Adibimpe Omotayo.
This is Lagos, the heartbeat of Nigeria, a city steeped in rich cultural heritage and now poised to become a global financial center.
We're at the Lot Mayor's show, and it's an opportunity for us to just depict what Lagos is all about. And it's only at an event like this, competing with other bigger cities and other nations, that you can tell your story.